Hey, Phil, what should I ask Bernie Sanders later today? I'm going to have 5 minutes alone with Bernie Sanders. Is there any questions that you have that I should ask him?
You could ask him why his plan to do AI data centers and have the American people own half of it is either going to be like a genius idea or immediately die.
Senator Sanders, thank you so much for meeting with me here today. You posted about you have an American AI sovereign wealth fund for Americans to get 50% ownership of these companies and have a say in them. A lot of people are very hesitant, especially in my audience. They're very hesitant and very nervous about AI. What control will this give them? What's the thought process?
All right, here is the bottom line. Number one, who is pushing AI today and who owns the industry? The wealthiest people in the world.
Yes.
Okay. They're investing hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars, not because they care about you, your family, the kids, elderly people. They just want to get richer and more powerful. So that should get everybody nervous right there. All right, so we got to stop these people.
Yep.
AI and robotics will be the most transformational technologies in the history of humanity. It can change everything. Should we allow a handful of the wealthiest people in the world to make those decisions? I think not. Most Americans think not. So the first thing that we're going to do is say, guess what? We're going to put 50% of the stock into the hands of the American people, which gives us half control over these companies, which means they cannot go forward in any way that they want. They want to come forward with policies that are going to lay off tens of millions of workers. We're going to say no. They're going to come forward with policies that are going to harm the mental health of our children. We're going to say no. Invade our privacy? No. Lead us to an existential threat? No. So that's number one. Number two, what is AI? Where did they get their resources? Did they discover oil? No. Is it nuclear power? No. It is the work that you have done. I've written 5 books. Guess what? They're all there. So AI is based, the foundation of AI is based on the work of human beings. And human beings deserve to get rewarded financially for that. That's why half of the wealth created will go to the American people.
Got it. So this is a dividend for the American people that this data was already trained on.
That's right.
Okay, got it. My second question for you is, right now, this is a very long forward plan. I live in an area where they're about to build a data center about 3.5 miles away from my house. There's people in my community. We're finding out about them at late times, and there's people are against them, and there's a lot happening. And this is in southeastern Pennsylvania, right in the suburbs of Philadelphia. What do you say to them as they're organizing, and what do you see about that, and what you're feeling from it?
Well, I think the opposition to data centers, which, as you know, that opposition is taking place not just in Pennsylvania, all over the country. It's not just the progressive communities, it's conservative communities. People are sitting there and say, hey, this is going to be a huge thing being built in my community. It's going to impact my electric bill, impact water use, there'll be noise, there'll be environmental degradation. Ain't a good thing. And people are opposing them. But second of all, I think in the back of people's minds are the understanding that it's not just data centers, it's what these data centers reflect. What's going to happen when they're built? Am I going to have a job? Are you going to have? You're a young person. What's the economic future for young people?
I've already had a job destroyed by AI. Right. I was working as a data analyst, and they went and they took, instead of taking that information and putting it in, it's now being done by AI. So one person is doing the job of what was 7.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. So your generation, people in general, you're a truck driver out there. You're going to have driverless cars, et cetera, et cetera. All right. So people are looking and they're saying, wait a minute, there's this revolution taking place. I had nothing to say about it. The handful of the richest people in the world making huge amounts of money, pushing this whole bloody revolution through, and no one gives a damn about me. So that's why we've called for a moratorium on the construction of data centers, and second of all, the Sovereign Wealth Fund.
Got it. Last question for you. My podcast is called Crashing Out. Are you familiar with the term at all? Crashing out? It's like, what's making you upset? What's getting you angry? Is there anything right now when you're looking? I know that you're here in the Senate, you see a lot.
You want to ask me what gets me angry?
Yeah,
how long
makes
is the
you
show?
Crash out? Well, you know what? It's as long as you want.
It's going to be a telethon. We'll be on for look.
I'm a very loud, angry guy, so I mean, this is just what. But is there anything specific right now in this moment that you're like, this is the thing that's really getting you? Whether it be ICE, whether it be international, foreign policy, anything here domestically?
Yeah, what I think gets me angry is this is a great country, and it has a great history, and we've done remarkable things. And we were once the envy of the entire world. People looked at the United States, wow, that's what democracy is about.
Yeah.
That's what justice is about. No, did we have a perfect history? God knows we have not. But in many ways, our Constitution, etc., were the envy of the world. And I look at America right now, and what I see is an economy which is totally rigged. We have more income and wealth inequality than ever before in the history of this country. Do you know that? Ever.
No, I know.
More than the Gilded Age.
Yeah.
So right now, a few blocks away from here, people sleeping out on the street, middle class, working class families, going nowhere in a hurry, everything being equal. If we don't turn around, your generation is going to have a lower standard of living than your parents.
Yeah.
You're going to buy your first home maybe 12 years later than your parents did, on average.
Yeah.
All right? So what the hell is going on? We got all this new technology. We're the richest country in the history of the world, and our younger generation is going to have a lower standard of living than their parents. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So then you got that. You got the economy, which is rigged. Then you have a political system which is absolutely corrupt. Most people do not understand that. But right now, super PACs, as a result of Citizens United, can spend as much money as they want. I mean, we're talking about billions of dollars. Musk himself, for $270 million to get Trump elected. Anybody think that has anything to do with democracy? It doesn't. So you got a rigged economy, a corrupt political system, and on top of that, we have a mentally unbalanced oligarch who is president of the United States, who is really, in a sense, undermining everything that this country is supposed to be about. So am I angry? Yeah. I'm angry.
Got it. So you're not going to go to the UFC fight?
Probably not.
Okay. Well, Phil, I'm coming to you live from the Hotel Cuck Chair here in Washington, D.C. Happy to be here. I've been walking around our great nation's capital, staring at seemingly everything that has either been demolished or under construction for the Freedom 250 Festival, America's birthday or funeral, depending on whether or not you've been to Walmart. I'm here, and there's a lot has happened this week. Donald Trump has seemingly lost many things, including Bret Michaels and a series of other failed musicians, but not Flo Rida. He'll never lose Flo Rida, Phil.
Well, yeah, what? It was Flo Rida, and then was it Vanilla Ice? I think Vanilla Ice was like, I'll go I'll perform for like Osama bin Laden or something. I don't know.
No, he said he would perform for Putin. I was like,
that's what it was.
No, the guy who would perform for Donald Trump would also perform for Putin. No one's shocked by that, Vanilla Ice. Also, Vanilla Ice has performed at Mar-a-Lago multiple times with the Ninja Turtles.
Admittedly, this is something I haven't really paid much attention to because it's like it's all fluff bullshit. But I saw the report that Milli Vanilli's fake singer dropped the Trump concert, and I was like, what? He's not what? I'm so confused. Yeah. If you're not a real anyway.
Yeah, well, one of the Millies is dead. I don't know which of it was Millie or Vanilli. One of them is dead, and the one because this is like the Village People, right? Like there's two Village People. There's like most of the guys, and then there's a dude who actually owns the IP of the Village People. Those guys are always up. They love being with Trump. They love getting their song trending on Spotify for boat parades. They love doing this dance. Happy Pride, by the way, the Trump dance. It's June, Trump dance. But yeah, they love that. And it's the same thing with Milli Vanilli because they were like, yeah, the female singer from Milli Vanilli. I was like, what the fuck are we talking about here? And like, I've just been like replacements. There's all this there's like I think Martina McBride was another one who was a lot of them have said they were Morris Day and the Times, who I only know from Jay and Silent Bob's Strike Back, and then discovered like more about them from the Prince movies and others. I love Morris Day and the Times. They were the first ones I heard to pull out. Basically, all of these guys were sold that this was more of a bipartisan, nonpartisan. It's like the Great American County Fair is what was going to be called.
Like that could come from this fucking administration. Like that was like we're going to actually come together. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I know. Well, I know. Well, the thing is, though, here's what's happened. We're dealing with Freedom 250. Freedom 250 is a Donald Trump production, like probably through MAGA Inc. or whatever. There's also a decade ago, America 250. That is the congressional, approved, legislated, and budgeted America celebration for the I don't even know, is it Quinta Bicentennial or some shit like that? It's like however they call it.
It's such
for 250.
It's such a fun word. I've been watching Ryan Trahan say it. Yeah, well, because to get into the details, Freedom 250 is the one that's behind like the Great American State Fair.
Mhm.
So my whole thing is I've been so not paying attention to this. I was like, oh, whatever's happening where there's a UFC fight. So at first I was like, wait, so there's a bunch of singers at the UFC fight, but it's like, it's a planned 16-day World's Fair style festival at the National Mall. There's like a few big Ferris wheels, flyovers, very Americana. But this has been, I think everything that we're seeing now, it's been like a long time coming, right? We started seeing like all the fallouts before, like things like, what was it, Issa Rae and the canceled Kennedy Center engagement, Lin-Manuel Miranda canceling a Hamilton revival. Like there was a lot that led up to this, and so it didn't surprise me that a lot of the names that we kind of ended up seeing were names I was like, oh yeah, oh and who,
Oh yeah.
and
yeah,
what,
and you exist? Oh, there was a couple that I was like, buddy, I was convinced you were dead. Like that, there was quite a few. There's some of them, the last time I saw them was their VH1 Behind the Music in 2003, where they're like, and now I'm sober. And I'm like, wow, that's the last time I heard about them. So yeah, they really did scrape the bottom of the barrel on this booking. What's actually been very interesting to me, Phil, because we're only like a couple weeks away from this Freedom 250 County Fair. You say, say the name again. It's the
Great American State Fair.
Okay, because I thought it was like the Great American County Fair or Country Fair, but it's called the Great American State Fair, which is crazy already.
Yeah,
because you should call it the Great United States Fair. Why would you call it? Because see, immediately he's trying to make America great again, so he has to have the word America, not United States, because he hates using the term United States because he likes to go America, but United States. That's how he pronounces.
Maybe it's like we're in a state of something. Like we're in a state of excellency because we're crushing it right now as America.
No, because this is what happens when you have New York guys who try to pretend that they actually live in Nashville, are coding for rednecks who will never visit Washington D.C. because they don't understand traffic circles. It's a stupid name. It's a terrible name. I hate this name. But also, it's just so goddamn funny. I have never heard about this until people canceled. This is like weird reverse marketing. I've never heard, not once have I heard about this. I've heard about the fight pit. I've heard about UFC the entire time. And
you can't not
Philly.
see it. Everyone's posting pictures of this fucking monstrosity.
It looks like they're rebuilding a roller coaster.
I always leave 2%. I'm like, maybe it'll look cool. But I do feel like someone that's like doing a housing remodeling and like you're 25% through and you're like, oh fuck. We should have done this.
I made a video about it because I saw people complaining about it. Of things to complain about, like obviously it's the funniest thing to complain about because, let's face it, right now there are tens of thousands of people being held in weird concentration camps all across the United States. The economy's on the verge of collapse. He said he no longer cares about Iran. The entire Strait of Hormuz shit is still to the side. He's still allowing genocides to happen around the world. He's the most corrupt fucking president ever. The Epstein files, etc. We can go on and on and on about all the other different things. So the fact that he's building a fight pit in his backyard, I'm like, yeah, where else do you want to build a fight pit? It's for backyard brawls. It's got to be in the backyard. And I'm at this weird point right now where I'm now beginning to view the White House as the picture of Dorian Gray. You know that story? Or maybe it's the portrait of Dorian Gray, I think is the official title. It's the idea of like there's this guy, there's this painting, and the painting ages, and that's like who he truly is, but he in real life can like look like this. Mm-hmm. That is now America. That's the White House. A third of it's been demolished. A man with 3 baby moms moved in. He's building a backyard fight pit, and every long weekend, everyone in the neighborhood has to say, is that fireworks or a shooting? Like that is America. That's America to a T. And I'm kind of just like settled with it now.
Did you see the different kind of meltdowns from Trump around this?
About what?
About the festival. So the first one that I saw, it was to your point of the reverse marketing, was all of a sudden Trump out of nowhere saying, I understand artists are getting the yips having to do with their performance on Wednesday. So I am thinking about bringing the #1 attraction anywhere in the world, the man who gets much larger audiences than Elvis in his prime, and he does so without a guitar, the man who loves our country more than anyone else, and the man who some say is the greatest president in history.
Oh my God.
The GOAT. I forgot that he wrote the GOAT, Donald J. Trump, to take the place of these highly paid third-rate artists even he's shitting on the artists now. Now I feel almost bad that they're getting it for both sides, and give a major speech rallying the country forward like I have done ever since being president. And then he goes into the 2 years ago, America is dead.
Oh God. Can I tell you, as you were reading it, I was like, okay, well, who is this artist? I was like, who is so chill with this dude? And it was himself.
This is like if you were like, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you are ready for the man with the most.
Yeah, if I was. Yeah. I've heard a lot of people have the yips. First thing, throwing out the yips for not gymnasts is crazy. Because I think he talked shit on, who's the gymnast? It's very early in the morning and I am in a hotel. Who's the gymnast with a few years ago?
Simone Biles.
Simone Biles, yeah. I think he and all the conservatives were like, how dare you? Because when she got the yips from, and then the spins and everything from like that.
Yeah.
Like, this is just so fucking crazy. To say, for Donald Trump to say he's bigger than Elvis, that is, to me, probably more sacrilegious than AI Jesusing yourself.
That's now like looking back to when he was at Elvis's place. Now the entire time he was like, I'm better than Elvis. I'm better than this fucking
wow,
idiot.
That's crazy. That's crazy. We had to park on your front lawn like a hick. And only one gold toilet? Wow, that's wild. That's wild. Only one gold toilet. Amazing. Anyway, yeah, I went to Graceland years ago when I was out in Memphis. And I was shocked because they were like, yeah, you had to pay at the time. This was like the very, very early 2010s, or maybe it was late 2000s. I was drinking a lot at the time. I don't remember. And I pulled up and they were like, yeah, it's like 15 or 20 bucks to park, but you parked like on the lawn. It wasn't like a paved parking lot. You park on the lawn. And I was like, I'm not paying to park here. And they were like, what? And I was like, I'm from Philly. We park on dead junkies' lawns for free. And they were like, okay. And I'm like, I'm going to spin around. And that's why I never went into Graceland. I would have paid for the ticket to walk in the building. I refused to pay for parking and a ticket. I was like, that's too far. But yeah. I'm obsessed with this. Didn't he also have a problem with the Kennedy Center this weekend too? Didn't he like
there was
lose
the Kennedy
the
Center.
name?
So like, yeah, part of this like connects because like, so he all of a sudden then goes into another thing where he's like, we should make a giant Make America Great Again rally for $250 instead of having overpriced singers who nobody wants to hear, whose music's boring, and yet who do nothing but complain. I love how he immediately hates everyone that is not on board with him. He said, cancel it just like I canceled my involvement in the failing and unsafe to be in Kennedy Center because a highly conflicted, crooked federal judge said that I should not be allowed to spend my time and money in order to make the center great again. Actually, far greater than it ever was before. It would have also been nice to see a Republican Democrat union bring it back to life. Homie, that's not what you're doing. None of what you're doing is bringing people together. The only people you are bringing together are people in other countries to go, what the fuck is America doing? What the fuck? Canada went lib because you were such a crazy asshole who was just like shouting random threats. You are bringing our EU partners together because you're just such a fucking deadbeat, scary drunk, but who's not a drunk, apparently loser, who's just like, I hate you. I don't need you. Why aren't you here for me? You sound like he acts like he's like on a drunken phone call. It's just all the emotions. And you're like, what is wrong with this man?
He's sending a series of breakup texts to America and the Kennedy Center.
I never loved you. I love you so much.
And Brett Michaels. I'm still Flowrider. There's time. Drop out.
Hey, I know some older folks.
Hold on, real fast. Just about Flowrider. I need Flowrider to drop out. I can't. I boycotted so much already, Phil. I've boycotted Starbucks. I've boycotted Target. I've given up. I've turned my back on so many things. I can't lose Whistle by Flowrider. I can't. I need that. Okay, like there's. You ever see the Flowrider court case where somebody was suing him and they were like tried to claim that he like ripped off music and like they were like, you know,
this sounds so familiar.
Yeah, there's a court. It's Flowrider is sitting in the witness stand and they're like, are you? And you're Mr. Flowrider? And he's like, yeah, I'm Mr. Flowrider. And then they're like, oh, can we play some songs and we'd like you to identify? And he's like, yeah. And they play like just banger after banger of the chorus of all these songs. And it's just Flowrider just sitting there nodding his head. And as you listen to his discography, like these are all great songs. So I think part of this is Flowrider is just like, yeah, man, it's like the Michael Jordan thing. Republicans buy shoes too. I'm like, yes, man, but this is a much more divisive time. You can't really get away with the dolly of like, I'm above the politics of it all. You know, I was told this is America. This is like, we're just celebrating America. Like that would have been true under either a Bush or even a Romney presidency, right? I think you might even be able to get away with it a little bit with even if DeSantis had been president. But under this president, after what feels like, somebody wrote earlier, it feels like this man's been president for 12 years. We're at a point now where it's like that, you can't get away with that. You just can't. It's just, everybody knows. Where is it? It's in D.C. Who's controlling it? The government? That's Trump. Like, that's just what that is now.
I love that you're like, the last 2 years have been so bad that you can't take away the boots with the fur. Let me have that.
I need it. I need it. I just, listen, Flo Rida and me, it's from a very specific period in time in my life.
Yeah.
I'm not going to follow him, but I'm asking him, Flo Rida, on behalf of the people.
On the behalf
also, I love
of
every
the
time
people.
I mention Florida, someone's like, you know, it's just Florida with a space in the middle. Yes, I know that. I've known that the whole time. I'm fine with this. This is the part of Florida I want. Okay, it's like, give me that and give me, please, like, let me go to Orlando every now and then without measles. It's difficult.
But I think when you were talking about the Kennedy Center, were you talking about how there a federal judge said that his name needs to be taken, or like he's temporarily closing its doors and his name needs to be taken down? Yeah, that was like a federal judge that said Congress gave the Kennedy Center its name and only Congress can change it. That was like one of the big aspects. Yeah, and then I started seeing AI videos of like people taking down Trump's name, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna put this at a thing that I'm gonna research later, because once again, a lot of this stuff I know that it matters. A lot of it just feels whatever.
Yeah, no, it's one of those ones where I'm like, you know, we got to people need to know, number one, that he's not getting everything he wants. And number two, that there are some area, obviously somebody's found some areas and levers they can push back on. I mean, the $1776 billion, the $1.776 billion January 6th lawfare fund that we talked about a few weeks ago. A federal judge paused that, and right now the DOJ has it paused. It sounds like that's kind of falling apart as well. We also are dealing with, remember, this is President iPad Kid. I like to remind people all the time, he's very lazy. He doesn't do the work. One of the reasons why he's so excited to build random things is because as somebody who he's a real estate developer from New York, he's used to dealing with a lot of red tape from New York City and New York State, or even Atlantic City and other places. So the fact that he's president and he thought for a lot of this, he could be like, oh no, just no, you don't need to talk to them. We don't need to do an impact study. And then guys were like, all right, the president said fine. They started digging. That like excited him more than anything else, because you see it all the time. Whenever like they'll be legitimately, they're asking him like, sir, is gas ever going to go down? He's like, I don't know, but these columns are pretty gay. We're going to get rid of those. We're going to get nicer columns. Maybe gold. This is great. What do you think of the drapes? Like, this is the thing he's done repeatedly, where he's pivoted back to just like talking about walls. Maybe that's why he wanted to build one at the border. He was just like, oh, it's a wall. Maybe I can put gold lame on it. That might have been it. Maybe he's reverse racist. Maybe he is a bigot because he just really wanted to build a wall. And then somebody was like, we could build a wall at the border. He's like, it will be the biggest wall and it'll have my name on it. The Great Wall of Trump. Maybe that's it. Maybe we've just deconstructed him in ways that I can't imagine. I just had to be in this dark hotel in a cuck chair, staring at America being ripped apart outside my window.
While you guys
I
come
guess
up with
the American people. I'm the ultimate cuck, the American people.
I was just about to say, while you guys come up with a drinking game for and you take a shot every time Alex says cuck chair, we will be right back after a word from us and a sponsor.
We just finished a sold-out show here in New York City, and the energy was amazing, Phil.
It was great. You had a chant going. It got weird. It got fun. It got crazy. But we have more coming, because we're going to be doing live shows in Seattle, Portland, Boston, Philly, San Francisco, Phoenix, Denver, Atlanta, Chicago, St. Paul, DC, and Pittsburgh.
CrashingOutTour.com. Get your tickets now, or check the link in both of our bios.
Crashing Out Nothing kills the excitement of online shopping faster than a website asking you to remember the password you made in 2019. Suddenly, you're resetting login info. You're hunting for your wallet. You're opening up an email. Oh, wait, that was the wrong email I had set up for it. Now you're looking for a code? They have to text you a code? Oh, but you have your D&D on, so you didn't notice. You've been sitting there for 45 seconds waiting for this code, and now you completely talked yourself out of the item that you were about to purchase that felt so good because now it feels bad. That's why I'm always happy to see today's sponsor's beautiful purple Shop Pay button pop up when using Shopify. You just tap that sucker once, everything fills in, and suddenly checkout is over before your laziness can win. Shopify powers 10% of all U.S. e-commerce, helping everyone from global brands to first-time sellers trying to turn an idea into something real. You can build a professional-looking store with ready-to-use templates that match your brand. Shopify also has helpful, smart tools that can assist with product descriptions, page headlines, and even improving those product photos. I especially like that you can manage inventory, payments, analytics, shipping, returns, and marketing all in one tab, because that could be too many tabs. And when you're ready to grow, Shopify has built-in marketing tools to help you reach customers wherever they are. And that purple Shop Pay button, it's basically Shopify helping businesses turn more carts into actual sales. See less carts go abandoned and more sales go with Shopify and their Shop Pay button. Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/crash. Go to shopify.com/crash. That's shopify.com/crash.
Well, Phil, I mentioned it earlier. It is Pride, and I do want to just say happy Pride to everybody, except for in Tennessee, apparently, where it's Nuclear Families Month. Fuck them, idiots.
Stupid fucking tryhards.
I know. But I was actually, because yesterday, I'm currently in Washington, D.C. Like I said, I'm here for the Trending Up conference where I'm meeting other content creators. And so actually, weirdly, this is a weird thing when you're a content creator. You don't actually look at your phone when you go to content creator events because you're too busy in person talking to other content creators, like when you go to VidCon or other things like that. And so there was just a few moments yesterday where I kept going, oh, I forgot it was June 1st. And I would open up some apps, and it actually felt so nice to see so many sports teams posting. The Philadelphia Eagles posted, the Philadelphia Phillies, a bunch of baseball teams. I saw the Flyers. I'm shouting out Philadelphia teams. I'm wearing a Philadelphia t-shirt. But I saw more and more, starting brands. Like last year, it felt like almost nobody was like posting. Now, we're not back into where we could be in I want to say 2022, where people were like, does Lockheed Martin need to have a rainbow profile pic? We're not there. But and I do. The part is what's crazy is I remember people complaining about that, and then 25 hit, and then people were like, "Did we push back too hard? Maybe having Lockheed Martin Pride was something." But it was very nice to open up and to see also many of them using the trans inclusive Pride flag on top of that, which for the audio listeners is the one that has the triangle on there. Also that has black and brown stripes and just more of the identifiable one. There was a bit where it felt like every year the Pride flag was getting more and more. I think this is where we're going to be for the next decade. I have one at home that has a circle on it. And everyone's like, what's that one for? I'm like, somebody told me once and I already forgot. I've seen them get more and more complicated. They go up and down.
I thought you were saying you got a TBD flag. They're like,
to be decided.
Whatever is. Yeah.
No, I can't remember exactly what it was, and I was like, okay, I know it's in there. I'm sorry, guys. I'm pro whatever it is, but we'll figure it out later. But yeah,
whatever it is,
no, because here's the thing with Pride is really with Pride. The biggest thing is just one, acknowledging that people exist and that they shouldn't live in fear and that they should have rights, whether that be part of the LGBT plus community. Anything this goes for our trans brothers, sisters, and our non-binary friends, and all of our friends out there. And as somebody who, you know, after a few White Claws finds himself hanging around in that B part of the alphabet, you know, it's like I just want everybody to be happy, okay? Did you not know, Phil?
I didn't know where you were going. I was like, what's happening? My take on this has been like it's evolved over the last 20 years. It started from and has maintained a base of as long as no one's getting hurt, I don't fucking care. Like BU loves love. I don't give a shit. Like as long as no one's getting hurt, everything's legal. Great. Who cares? Like, and so yesterday when I was looking at everything play out, I had a number of feelings. Like you, I was like, oh, this is kind of. I was like, you know, I have a lot of
throwback.
Well, yeah, I was like, you know, I have a little feelings about like pink capitalism and stuff like that. Of like, you know, I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna give it to everyone. Be like, hey, congratulations on you trying to like make money from a certain group of people. But as far as like looking at people that were like, you know, the fucking people, Libs of TikTok, Benny Johnson, all these people, like they were like up in arms, like, oh, like, and so in my head, it was
seeing Benny Johnson and Michael Knowles, it was like, come on, baby,
you guys, come on,
we're complaining from behind the door, buddy. Okay,
but there were certain people that felt like, you know, happy closeted Republican feigns outrage month. And so it was like, okay, whatever. But it was one of the things that I took from all of a sudden seeing kind of the increase of companies and people being involved is, to your point, it's not like woke's fully back or like there's been a full swing, but it is funny. Like one of the things, like it is funny that culture war issues aren't as effective when gas is super expensive, when life is harder. And it made me go like, oh, wait, are culture war issues only truly effective when there's like a semi-okay baseline? Like, even though like we're maybe comparing it to like, obviously the pandemic fucked so many of us up in a lot of different ways, but it changes like the reference point. I don't know, but it just felt like, oh, okay, it's still going to be effective to a certain group of people, but I wonder if it's as effective for independents or people that aren't like, they don't wake up thinking like there are just some bigots that wake up thinking about gay and trans people more than gay and trans people think about gay and trans people. Like they're just fucking obsessed.
No, but so this is one thing I do want to point towards is like, yeah, there's that. Those guys are always going to exist, no matter what the price of gas is, no matter whether or not a pandemic is raging across America, bigots are going to bigot. It's actually more, to me, is showing that the cowards at C-suites and executives across America who pulled back so violently. And because people keep forgetting, everyone thinks that it was just like, oh, Trump got reelected, woke and DEI was destroyed. There was a multi-year campaign from the moment Dylan Mulvaney touched a Bud Light can to attack Target, to attack Bud Light, to make sure that everything is coded, to make sure there's the America A, America B split over this thing. If you touch this thing over here, you're actually gay. Now we have to go hire a stand-up comedian from the Joe Rogan verse to like hold our beer on camera every fucking day. Like there was like a split that happened there. But now they're like, you know what? Fuck you. Like there's just a moment now where it's like, listen, if we post, we post. If we don't, we don't. It's leading into that side of it. And the big thing too, when I noticed, it was like almost, I think it was all baseball teams except the Texas Rangers as the last time I checked. You know where baseball teams are, Phil? They're in fucking cities. You know where people are out and proud? They're out and proud typically in cities. The difference between the gay rights movement of the 90s into the 2000s going up to today has been being able to be out further away from population centers, of being able to feel comfortable the farther away you are for other groups of people. Because most people I know, when they came out, they moved to a city first and they could find culture. They could go to gay bars. They could be among community. They could, whether it be coming out as trans or all these different places in their life, they had to flock to a place. They felt they had to leave their hometown. And the right has said for a long time, you left your hometown to go get brainwashed. No, fuck you. I left my hometown to go find a place that wasn't going to judge me for being who I am and being what I feel and being how I was made. And that's like, this is part of the fucked up with. Oh, sorry. I just saw that Indiana Governor Mike Braun also signed a nuclear family month. Just so they know, gay people are part of nuclear families too. I know they're trying to do. You know who makes gay people? You know who makes trans people? Straight people. When they're nutting in each other raw after they just go fucking crazy in an insane bacchanalia before they go hop over. Oh, I know. I can already feel people type. There's in vitro fertilization and other. Yeah, I know. But for the most part.
No, this topic makes me think of, and he's getting dunked on hard right now. It makes me think of Dave Rubin. This is a guy that actually we lived in the same neighborhood a while ago. We were friendly. I think it was pre-pandemic. I forget when we first talked. It was back in my enlightened centrist years.
Maybe you should use the term neighborly. You should maybe use the term neighborly over friendly. Or you know, I don't know.
I mean, it's not like we hung out. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm very much to my own people. But anyway,
yeah.
It's not like I'm saying this now.
Okay, I got you.
This was more back in the day of like the Young Turks. I felt like they didn't like me, and he had left them, and I was like, oh, so is it like we're both like kind of whatever with them? and then he took a turn.
Yeah.
But no, so he's getting dunked on hard. This time it's through Jubilee, and he got like surrounded by 2025 libs, and it's just him getting fucking slapped around. And I was like, oh shit. But I think of him anytime I see the right eating their own, and specifically with their own are, you know, people that are a part of the LGBT community that want to be right wing and are, I don't know if it's like a pure money play or they genuinely in their heart of hearts think that they're aligned on 90% of things. But homie, a huge part of that group fucking hate you. They all of a sudden, you know, they're getting a baby. I believe it was through in vitro or with like with someone that carried it. Or was it adopted? I don't know, but it was like people talking about they're stealing babies and all of that, and I was like, ooh, that's got to be crazy to be like you're trying to hold water for a group of people that fucking detest you, and
tokens get spent,
and like it breaks my heart because it's like to one degree because it's like no one should be fucking hated for wanting to have a family and to love who they want to love, again, as long as you know, people are doing things and no one's getting hurt and it's all legal. Like it's just I don't know, but also to your point, it's like you kind of made that bed, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, to not pivot completely all the ways back to her and always bring her back, but like Marjorie Taylor Greene, you see this with women in the alt-right. There's been this story for like a decade of like women who were in kind of leadership roles in the alt-right, and they thought that they could get up to a higher level, and they're like, no, our movement hates women, so you're never going to be the leader. You know what I mean? Like that's been a part of it, and then they're always like shocked, and you see them kind of fall out of fashion or favor with these movements. But I mean, there's another one out there right now, Scott Pressler. For most people,
thank you. I was like trying to grab that name. Yes.
Yeah. So for most people who you know, have friends and you know, every now and then have gotten a hug, you're not deep enough on the internet to know who Scott Pressler is. Scott Pressler is a Republican field organizer / content creator who travels around the country in the worst boots I've ever seen in my entire fucking life, with insane hair, and he's very effeminate. Old people love him, though. Old Republicans love him, and he has these events. And the thing is Scott wants power. Scott wants to get bigger inside the Republican Party, and he's got some issues in the past. And another issue he has is that the Republican Party has two gods. The first god is obviously Donald Trump. Forever may he reign. Hail Trump. The second god, though, is Jesus Christ and Christian national evangelicalism. And inside of that, you now have these lunatics who are now screaming at Scott, like, yeah, thank you so much for registering voters, but like, we hate you and we don't like your way of life, and we think you're a sinner who is going to burn in hell. Like, this is what they're tweeting at him. And he has to pretend he's not seeing it. Like, that's the part that always gets me, is they have to pretend they're not seeing it and then go back to filming their video with Ken Paxton's wonky eye and that pretending like they have a good fucking time. Because we got to talk about Texas, Phil. I not to pivot real hard, unless you got any thoughts about Scott Pressler.
No, Scott Pressler just made me realize I don't want to. It's when I wear boots, do not tuck them in.
Yes.
That's all it is.
Yes.
Every fit I see of Scott Pressler, I'm just like, okay, don't do that. I become that guy on Twitter that just like starts critiquing outfits.
Oh yeah, no, you're slowly turning into the workwear guy, but just for cowboy boots. There's also not to call him out completely, but I should, because forever. Scott, find a belt that fits. You shouldn't have that much of the extra strap hanging off to the fucking side. It's supposed to tuck completely in. You dumb bitch. But at least Scott's breaking barriers for gay people. He's proving that not all gay people have fashion sense. So that's great. You know, this is a step in the right direction. Unfortunately, it's a goose step for Scott. But let's talk about Texas, because Scott and Ken Paxton, the new Republican nominee for the Senate, we just last week they had their primary, and it was John Cornyn, the existing incumbent, versus Ken Paxton, probably one of the most, I'd say the second most corrupt living politician in America today. Ken cucked my wife and made her sit in the Texas State Senate during my impeachment trial as they talked about my mistress and how I paid her off. Paxton, who's currently getting in the middle of a divorce, won resoundingly in the Republican runoff primary.
Yeah, it's birds of a feather stick together. It doesn't surprise me. What I do wonder is, what it's gonna mean for November. I know you have thoughts around the Republican attack ads on Tallarico, and I do wonder, having seen the last week, do you think, has it changed your thoughts on if they are going to be effective or not?
I think there's a twofold thing, because this race, I think, actually helped when looking also at the Massey race. Both things had something in common, because AIPAC was not involved in this Republican race. John Cornyn is a staunch Zionist. He's been I think a 99% voter. You know, John Cornyn did every single thing he was supposed to do under orders he was given to be a Republican senator for years and years and years. Didn't fucking matter. Donald Trump stepped in and said, "That's my guy," and then all of them, like zombie lemmings, flocked immediately to Ken Paxton. That's the thing that I think we need to keep in mind. And right now, I view the Republican Party, when it comes to especially the primary level, obviously there's going to be these random people in your life who are going to tell you one thing and then do another, or whatever. You can have thoughts on hashtag not all Republicans type of bullshit, but it's a death cult. He is the God Emperor of the Republican Party. What Donald Trump says, the people who are going to show up to primaries, they're going to do. And now we get to live through these moments with these guys like Cornyn, who was the one down in Louisiana who just lost, and then Tom Tillis in North Carolina who is retiring. Suddenly they find their independence in their freedom. They're in their senior week now. It's like when you give 2 weeks notice at work. It's like, well, now I can tell Linda from accounting that I fucking hate her. Like, now we're in that mode. But seeing that was the first step for me. I don't know necessarily. The low T Tallarico, I think, is going to speak more. But the reason why I brought up Scott Presler,
I love Tallarico.
Tallarico is great. Tallarico makes no sense. He's just like,
and they've like jujitsu Uno reverse carded it. They're like, we're selling Tallarico merch. Why not?
Yeah, it's fine. The one that gets me is the God is non-binary thing, because I've saw Scott Presler in particular, who brought up talking about it, and it feels very weird to be. What we have to do, though, is we actually literally have to drill down that conversation. Because we're getting, James Tallarico is a seminarian. He's a state representative. He is a Christian. He understands theology and the Bible, and has read them cover to cover. And he's been on Joe Rogan for hours, talking about his beliefs and the metaphysical and those type of things. But when you're talking about whether or not the Holy Trinity of God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and may the Holy Spirit's the force and blah blah blah, all this type of shit. But the Republicans are showing up and going, "How dare you? How dare God has a penis? God has a penis, and he uses it. God has a penis." So that I just Scott Presler himself has been screaming about how dare you be gender nonconforming. So I just keep replying to him with this picture of him with his hands out like this, just going, "God has a penis and it's this big." And that's just that's where we are. And this is the thing, is you actually have to lean in on these conversations with these fuckers and just drill it down to what they're actually saying, instead of sitting back. With the Tallarico combo, where I get stuck is the vegan shit. That's what's been funny to me. I think the vegan thing is going to be more important than Texas.
That's
than
so
anything the fuck else. I don't think
and stupid.
it's so dumb. It's so dumb. And part of it is because the Democrats feel they have to actually respond to it.
Yeah,
which is a Texas thing.
Have you fucking okay? Just really quick. Even if you are defending, every strategy has to be attack, attack, attack. That's what we've learned. The moment you start defending a point, you've lost. Right?
Yeah.
This is like say what you want about a number of politicians. Like the way, like, I don't know. I go back to the Graham Plattner being asked about trans participation in sports, and he's like, you're asking me this question while everything's expensive, while people aren't able to afford healthcare, while billionaires are making us argue about a thing that is pretty much non-existent. It's affecting, and he talks about like how many things it affected in the state, and I had to look back to see when the Riley Gaines Act in Georgia, like how many people it actually affected, and it's like it's such, even though it's at the top of their importance list, it's affecting like nothing. And so like just attack and go like they have nothing. They have nothing behind the door except more shitty policies that are going to hurt you and help Trump's friends. And you're talking about what Tallarico puts in his mouth.
Yeah, it would be great if it would be so great if Plattner didn't have something come out every week.
I know.
It's
I'm
like as you were
homie.
talking, I was waiting for you to be like, I'll never forget when I read those messages on Kick about he was like, no, it's a top versus bottom. Actually, that's another thing. I've been hearing this conversation for a while because they've also tried to paint. Stephen Miller said that immediately was like James Tallarico is trans. And then the Democrats were like, shut up, you ugly fuck. And then that is a whole thing. And then people are like, oh my God, they ratioed Miller.
Dude, that's how they have to come. Like,
no, but that's exactly how it has to be.
Yeah.
That is how it has to be nationally. Let Tallarico, and this is what I'm going to tell people repeatedly, let Tallarico run his race in Texas. He's talking to Texas. I've been to West Texas. I've driven through West Texas. I got pulled over 4 times. And they were like, because at sundown, the miles per hour changes. And guys, just real fast, we desperately wanted to come to Texas. We're going to try in the future. We desperately did want to come to Texas on this tour. We couldn't make a venue work. But when I drove through West Texas, I kept getting pulled over because right at sundown, it goes from 65 to 55 in some places. And I was driving 65, like it's sundown. And I'm like, there's no exact time that like I knew of. So I just kept getting pulled over by state police. And then I drove through this small town and it was just, I've been to plenty of small towns across the South. This was the first time where I was like, I'm going to get cut up. Like I drove past like a old gas station and there was a guy sitting on the back of a truck on a little couch, like a love seat couch. And he was roasting marshmallows over another couch that was on fire. And I was like, I'm going to die. And like, if James Tallarico can speak to him and get him to vote for a Dem, great, fuck it. This is where I am at this point. If they can win, awesome, great, let's try it. Because a lot of these states now are so coded in different ways that I don't want to hear from New York consultants. I don't want to hear from LA influencers about it. I want to hear from the people of Texas. I'm here at this convention right now. I've been talking to Texans who are here, like Howdy Politics, who has a better idea of on the ground. Like I've just been talking to a bunch of different people. Isaiah Martin's here, and just so many. They all have different, the same way Philly politics is different than fucking central PA politics. Philly politics violently different than New Jersey politics. And it's 50 states, it's 50 differences. So we'll see. I think what I find interesting is that the Republicans got really nothing because they showed me their whole bag on Tallarico. They were like, he's gay, trans, and vegan, and he's got his girlfriend's fake. And then they rolled out like, here's his girlfriend, she's vegan. Yeah, okay, so she's vegan, does yoga, and hangs out at gay bars. But then when they showed a picture of James Tallarico and his girlfriend, I think at like Austin City Limits, I was like, that is a straight man. That is a straight man who probably cares a lot about World War II documentaries. Like the way he was dressed, I was like, I have walked away from this guy at barbecues and told my wife to never introduce me to him again.
Like, seems nice guy, not my personality type. That's where I'm at. But if I saw Ken Paxton at a fucking barbecue, I'd be like, we need to leave. We're surrounded by the most evil people on earth. This man, I cannot stress to you guys how corrupt Ken Paxton is. And I think the only thing that he has going for him, just like all corrupt Republicans, he has so much corruption that no one can pick a one thing and drive it home.
A few years ago, I got to try out today's sponsor, and it immediately became part of my evening routine because I've reached a stage of life where enjoying a night out is less about can I stay out late, and it's more about do I have to function in the next 48 to 72 hours? When you get to a certain age, it's not just about one or two drinks. It literally can put you down for days because whether it's work, kids, errands, plans, a flight in the morning, so many other things, the next day, that morning, rarely cares about what you did the night before, even though the night before is still with you. That's why I've been using today's sponsor, Z-Biotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic, for years now. Z-Biotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's a buildup of this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for the rough days after drinking. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this product down. Just remember to make pre-alcohol your first drink of the night, drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. And I know this is true because this has been part of my routine every evening, whether I'm on tour, I'm at a barbecue, I'm just out and I'm thinking, well, it'll just be a couple. I go ahead and throw one of these in there, and then the next day, it's like I'm completely fine. It's been the best thing that I've been able to find, and that I 100% tell you it's incredible. Plus, it's backed by 100% money back guarantee. So there's really no reason to not see this for yourself. Scan the QR code or head to zbiotics.com/crash. Use code CRASH and get 15% off your first order. Trust me, your mornings will thank you. That's zbiotics.com/crash, code CRASH.
Well, Phil, I just want to say real fast, that sponsor, Z-Biotics, is saving me right now.
Perfect.
Because I am at a conference. Daddy's outside. Daddy's had some old fashions because he's talking about a new media at the Trending Up conference. And also I'm going to be at Netroots in Philadelphia, the Netroots conference, which is with organizations online and things, this Friday for a panel. But yeah, I'm out here. I'm having a great time. I've been meeting so many of the fellow content creators who are in. It's expanded a little bit more. In the past, it's been more of the politics, current events, news space. And they've brought in more lifestyle and, I met like running influencers and history influencers, and Mr. Beat is here. We took a picture together, hanging out with Mr. Beat last night.
Same question. I need to know his forearm, bicep, and tricep workout. That man is, if you've never seen his wide shot, he's got the arms that I want.
Yeah, I know. You know what? And we'll post the picture in the video here so that way people can see. I took a picture with him last night at one of the little happy hour parties that they had, and I put it in the group chat to you, and you immediately were like, you weren't even like, oh my God, it's Mr. Beat.
I said, get me the details.
You said, I need arms now. And I asked him, and you know what he said? He said, just don't be a bitch.
Don't be a bitch. That's what I thought it was. Okay, I got to change up.
Yeah, no, I typed that. I showed it to him. He said, please don't send that to Phil DeFranco. Please don't send that to Phil DeFranco. And I was like, buddy, it's a joke. We're friends. We can make jokes. And he's like, I don't, okay. But actually what's very funny, Phil, is being at these things whenever I get to meet people, and I mentioned that we do this pod, the amount of people immediately just go, I've been watching Phil since I was 6. And I was like, if you ever see him, look him dead in the face and say it. I love watching it. That's what I want people to do.
That's why I look older this year. More and more people have come up to me and said, I've seen you, or I started watching you when I was 14. And every time someone does that, the line under my eye gets a little bit deeper. Just a little bit deeper.
It was, well, and this is what I think I was going to say is the Crashing Out tour, when we did our show in New York, all the shows we have meet and greets. And so many people walked up to you and they told you, they're like, I've been watching you for 15 years or so. And it was just like the impact of that. And it's been really, really cool on that side. And then here at this one, it's been about making connections and talking to people. more about like how to process being in this space. Because one thing I find, especially for short form content creators, so that's people who make like TikToks, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, that side, a little bit more than YouTube. I mean, old school YouTubers, it was more true for. Now I think like YouTube can be a little bit more planned. You know, because of like that weird virality you would get back in the day. You can still kind of get that with Reels and before the Ellisons bought TikTok. But, you know, like, you know, remember, was it Chewbacca Mom? Like, you don't get Chewbacca Moms on YouTube anymore.
Well, there was like a whole, there was a funneling system. It was like you'd pop on YouTube, then you'd inevitably end up on Ellen DeGeneres.
Yes, and then she ate your fame.
Yeah,
she ate your fame.
And then it would go like one of like 5 ways, depending on if you had a scandal or not. Right? We got like Bad Baby and Dr. Phil and yeah.
No, exactly. And so there's a lot of people that I've talked to who are just like, yeah, you know, I made a video about ICE literally kidnapping my neighbor and got 50,000 followers in a night, and I don't know what to do. And so this has been kind of like the conversations we've been having with people, you know, how to deal with the comment section. Like these are the type of things that we're talking about here, which has been very neat because my number one rule I tell everybody, I was like, listen, that especially on Instagram Reels, that fucking restrict button, ooh, baby. You want to tell you where I'm the most conservative? It's when you're in my fucking comments talking shit. I don't need you. Block. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I block names. Huge. I block people that I used to watch on TV in the early 2000s because they made me mad. I don't give a shit. You're not coming into my fucking space. And that's part of it. And it's also about how to foster community and have these conversations and network. And then the other part of it, though, too, is just being out, being among other people, because these phones are so isolating. Because the people watching this right now, I would love you to get in the comments, people watching and listening. If you can get in the comments, tell us where you consume this show. Are you at work? Do you save us for like the weekend and when you're, you know, doing laundry or like mowing the lawn? What are you doing as you're listening to the show? I would love to know because it does help us put in context of like where, you know, how are we blasting you with our takes? Because you know, if you're listening to us on Spotify super early, because we drop on Spotify at like 4 a.m. or something like that. If you like wake up at 7 a.m. and the first thing you heard this morning is me go, coming to you live from a cuck chair, I need to know that so that way I can like figure out how to say that in the right way.
You know
that's a little too early.
So what happens is it's always that episode is the episode that someone decided, hey, let's listen to this together. I want you to hear. It's always that episode that someone's like, ah. Which, hey, it's a little bit of a roulette with Alex.
Yeah, but you know, well, okay. I'm not in a Pope costume this time. That was fun.
That was fun.
But I just wanted to bring up the being outside, and this is also, again, part of us going on the tour, Crashing Out tour, is getting out there and meeting people, understanding, because some of the things we've been talking about have been with a lot of these platforms and the billionaires that own them and the organizations that are behind them and how their connections are in there. When you look at something like Twitter, when you look at how Mark Zuckerberg has been moving in the last few years, when you look at the Ellisons buying TikTok, content creators have a big fear, a huge fear about we can have our reach turned on or off by somebody sitting in a server room somewhere. There's things that can happen. And so part of being able to organize online is to get people to come offline. And you know where, and I've said this time and time again, you know where they cannot go and mute us, you know where they cannot come in and say you can't say Epstein files live in a room while we're talking to your faces. So that this is a little bit of, for everyone out there, if you're thinking about organizing something in person or you're thinking about how to go to things or you're seeing something, I would highly suggest, if it's our tour, great, if we're in your area. But if there's other events that are coming near you, go meet people and talk to them. Talk to strangers if you can, if you have that capacity. Because I know that's not for everybody. And that's actually what's crazy coming to content creator events. It is the loudest introverts in the world. Like going to content creator events is always fun for that. And to pivot, to go back to the Trending Up conference, there's a lot of content creators here who have been at Delaney Hall all weekend. So I've actually been getting kind of on the ground talk. For those of you guys who don't know, Delaney Hall is an ICE holding facility in, Newark, New Jersey. It opened last May. They've had a lot of issues there. It is run by Geo Group. It's a private prison company. There is a lot happening there. And but you may have been seeing from this weekend has been police violence and ICE violence towards protesters who have been outside. And the thing is that it's been lost. And again, I had to find this out offline, is these protests have been going on for over a year. They have just turned violent recently. ICE has.
Sorry. I thought. Yeah, I was misunderstanding that, because there was one of the big updates is that there's a hunger and labor strike. From my understanding. Yes.
Yes. There's a hunger and labor strike that has been actually happening nationwide. Delaney Hall just happens to be closer to New York, so it's been getting more coverage, at least here. There's Dealey in Houston, not Houston, that's down in Texas. That's been a big one that Miss Rachel's been focusing on because there's a lot of kids there. But I've seen infographics and others about like pointing out the major ICE detention facilities. And so at a lot of these, there's the people who have been inside have been on hunger strikes. As those hunger strikes have happened, for ICE and DHS to get that out of the algo, they've begun to start pushing and attacking protesters. So that way, the media and the coverage and the algorithm is showing you tear gas and riot shields. What you're not seeing are the people whose silhouettes are in the windows begging for help. And that's been the situation. So I've been talking to my friend Jolly Ginger. Here's Why Kevin, who has been on the ground there for over a year. Back and forth, and he has been talking to the families. He actually has also been speaking to Governor Mikey Sherrill, and that's been a big flashpoint this week because she said she was sending in the state police to, quote, protect protesters, but then tear gas, and they were, firing pepper balls and having horse come in. And then the mayor of Newark said that we're going to do it instead. And then we saw what happened there with those police beating protesters. And it's been a dark weekend, and I don't know how many algorithms is broken through. Like, unless people who are already aware of this, like you and me, like we're news people, we're politics people, we have a lot of mutuals who may or may not be there, or at least will be reposting this type of stuff. I don't know where it's breaking through into the general algo.
What we're having to realize. I mean, I was going to bring this up, and then I was like, oh, maybe the moment's passed, but. YouTube, especially in the last 3 weeks, has changed something in the algorithm where pure news content, unless you're doing rapid fire, like kind of Aaron Parnas 3 to 10 videos where it's kind of a lottery. It's always been a lottery of what's going to possibly like break through. And I'm talking about for long form, not short. A lot of stuff's been getting suppressed. I've talked to a number of creators, a number of managers. They're all saying it when they've talked to places, and this is very YouTube focused as far as what I'm saying. So I can't speak to TikTok and stuff, though sometimes on TikTok I use one word and it gets 0 views. But on YouTube, they're limiting the number of impressions. So I think they're trying to say that it's not like intentional suppression, that it's all based off of audience interests and seasonality. But what we've realized is that we've had to go, we're starting to go a little back to old school Philip DeFranco show model in kind of the big pop culture story of the day. And then for segment 2, segment 3, that's when we're diving into the heavy politics stuff. That can only be like the thing that leads the day if it's something that Trump has done or happens that is at a 10, and he's diluted what a 10 is over the last 2 years. And so like when we're talking about Iran and we're talking about, something bad happened, a lot of the headline is like, things got 10% worse. Bad thing is still bad for this ridiculous reason. And there's no expectations of any decency or professionalism or that there is going to be a good result. That a lot of people have subconsciously, I think, tuned it out and gone like, okay, instead of clicking this video, I'm going to watch that other thing. And then YouTube autocorrects too much and starts just feeding you any of the other stuff that you're clicking at a even slightly higher rate. So if you're a content creator and you're doing long form, that's what I would say is that you gotta start weighing things, still give people the information that matters, but you're going to have to figure out how to repackage it.
Yeah, and it's also one of those things where that's why we should title this "We Are Being Suppressed." Yeah, it's immediately, but no, it's also from being here at this conference. It's talking to fellow creators. I actually had somebody tell me who makes a lot of news content on YouTube, particularly. He said misspell Epstein now on purpose, and it gets seen. I've seen but this is and again, because all these platforms are black boxes. We only know through how each of us test, and then we can share results with each other on certain things. Like for me, a lot of people, if you've ever watched my TikToks, you'll notice that when I curse, I change the word, and then that's more and more people do that. That originally started as a ban evasion, because I used to have my video. I would curse so much that my videos were getting taken down, and I realized the early AI moderators of TikTok were reading the captions because the captions were actually training the AI into what the curse words were. And now I think their AI is good enough or smart enough that they've separated. They're like, well, the caption could say one thing, but the mouth is saying another. So sorry, everybody, that may have been me. Out of the 2 billion TikTok users, it might have been Ginger from Philly that fucked it all up. But that's just kind of classic.
Here's my one rule is I will not say unalive in a video. I will say killed.
Oh yeah,
I was like, because it's so funny because it starts as ban evasion and then it actually changes the way human beings talk.
Yes,
it
so drives me crazy too, because and a lot of these, unalive was the one that really drove me nuts because it doesn't necessarily mean murder. Like we have specific words and specific language that mean a very different There's so many different, with death, there's so many different ways that can happen. And it's killed, murdered, and then I don't want to say the S one because I don't know with YouTube. And then, there's other different ways, or just passively pieced away, peacefully passed away. So there's these are languages that we can have, but in that there's unalived. I'm like, okay, well, did someone unalive him? Now I have to go for context. That always drove me crazy. Also, because you never had to do it. I've said killed so many times on TikTok. I've said murder. I even said Alan Cumming, murder. There's things you can do. But getting back here, just real fast, getting back here to Delaney Hall, the one thing I want people to understand and to come back to about this is just like with all protests, governments always try to make it about what's happening in the street when people go to the street about something that's happening behind closed doors. Mm-hmm. Just keep that in mind. Right now, what they did at Delaney with Governor Sherrill and with the local New York mayor, they have pushed the protesters back. I believe it's a half a mile because the whole thing where the protesters were beginning to block trucks. This was with ICE attacking them, and the protesters were forming human chains to block the trucks. They started declaring that there were free speech zones. I'm sorry, as an American citizen, you know what my free speech zone is? The fucking world, because we got a First Amendment. That's my belief. And I understand where there's, quote unquote, safety and security, they can say all that other different shit. Once you start using the term free speech zone, Governor Sherrill, you are George W. Bush. Fuck off. That's my view of it. And it gets very difficult in these times. I understand what is happening here, which is the governor is stuck between ICE wanting to go harder and further and use this as a flashpoint to try to do shit, and the governor, saying they're trying to protect people, but you're not. You're not protecting the protesters. You don't have control over the New Jersey State Police. The mayor of Newark, you do not have control over the Newark riot police. The way the glee of those guys' eyes as they were breaking to make these shield riots was insane. Saying that people are coming from out of town to riot there. Okay, how many of those ICE agents are born in Newark, New Jersey? How many of those ICE agents commuted locally? DHS is nationwide. So I don't want to hear about protesters not being from the area, because the people they're grabbing aren't even from Newark. They're grabbing people from New York. They're grabbing people from Philly. They're grabbing people from fucking Scranton, Pennsylvania, and they're taking them to Newark. The families that are coming there are coming from all over the country. They grabbed people in Boston and New York and flew them to fucking Louisiana. So you're going to see protesters from out of town because DHS is moving people around in a shell game to hide them from their own fucking family. And when we have wishy-washy communications from local government officials, no matter what the party, you end up, whether you think you're doing it or not, Governor Sherrill, you become complicit and you make this a collaboration with their offices. And which is why when DHS said that we are working hand in hand with the local police, nobody has a way of pushing back on that because you are. We can't tell that in the middle of a tear gas field, you can't tell a difference if the masked man with a riot shield and a baton is ICE, New Jersey State Police, or Newark PD. You can't. And right now, from the way we're all looking at it from the outside, sitting here looking at it on our phones, scrolling through it, we can't see a difference either.
Yeah, pure chaos.
Recently, reports claimed a Chinese state-linked hacking group breached the FBI's internal wiretap network, exposing phone numbers and call pattern data. And that same group's also reportedly been linked to breaches involving major US cellular carriers. All of which is just another reason to use today's sponsor, Incogni. Because if even federal systems can be compromised, maybe, we should make it easy for random people to find your personal data. Once your information gets bought and sold enough times online, you lose control of where it ends up. But Incogni helps remove your personal information from data broker websites automatically, making it harder for scammers, stalkers, identity thieves, and creepy random people to find your data. And something I really like is that Incogni handles the annoying process for you, contacting brokers, requesting removals, following up, and tracking everything through the dashboard. With their custom removal feature, you can even flag specific websites exposing your information and have their team work on removing it for you. With Incogni doing the heavy lifting, I've had data cleared from hundreds of brokers, saving me countless hours of frustration. And honestly, seeing how many companies already had my information was genuinely unsettling. So hey, scan that QR code or go to incogni.com/crashingout and use code crashingout for 60% off. That's incogni.com/crashingout, code crashingout to get your personal data off the market.
Alex, one of the things I think we can close out with is something that's a little bit lighter, and that is, and I know that you haven't seen this. Are you? I don't think you're a big movie guy, but there's been a lot of talk about movies, especially with recently Obsession and Backrooms. But have you, one, do you consider yourself a movie guy? And two, have you watched these?
I used to be a movie guy, and then I had a child, a very small child. So right now, I am currently watching Troy the Train a lot. There's my kid, we just got Netflix again for the first time in 4 years because a family member gave me a gift card and was like, get over it. Your kid needs to watch K-pop Demon Hunters. And my son immediately fell in love with a Netflix show called Trash Truck. So that's where I am. I don't have time right now. And I can't wait. There's going to be so many movies. The last movie I watched was With You. It was the last newer movie I watched.
Really?
Yes.
Wait, what did we? Oh, yeah.
We watched one battle after another together awkwardly. Because the first 15 minutes, because the first 15 minutes of that movie are very sexually charged in a way I was not. Wouldn't it be great? I'm just sitting there looking at Sean Penn's boner, and I'm like, I'm sitting in a dark room with Phil DeFranco, and then Lindsay brought us cookies, so I'm like, I don't fucking know what to do here.
Wouldn't it have been great halfway through that scene? I look over to you and I'm like, it's weirder actually watching this the second time than I just didn't warn you.
Yeah, there was a moment. It did very much. There was a moment there where one, I was like, we're friends forever now. And two, I was like, I don't know which one of us is the parent in this situation. You know, like when you watch a movie with your parents and then suddenly there's a sex scene? That's how it felt watching the first 15 minutes. Because I was not warned. I just knew.
I was like, this scene's still going.
It just kept going. It kept going. It was great. I mean, I enjoyed the movie. I loved the movie, but that was the last newer movie I've watched because again, unless something comes up, I'm like, okay. For the most part, when kid goes to bed, we're staring at a wall for an hour.
Yeah, but I mean, the reason I think there's been such a focus on Backrooms and Obsession is that the directors are so young and they're internet based, right? So Backrooms, you have Kane Parsons. I believe he's 20 years old, which is insane. Has the #1 film at the box office. I believe globally it did over 100 million. I'd have to double check it. But it's also crazy because it had a budget of $10 million. And then Obsession was one of the real standouts to me. For me, if I'm weighing which one was better for me, Obsession. I loved it. Curry Barker. I originally knew him as a TikTok guy because it was always him and a buddy that were doing these really funny skits. And so when I saw the news come out that he had sold a movie, I was like, what? For how much? Oh man, okay, I guess I'll watch this thing. They made it on a $750,000 budget. It's fantastic. It is I don't want to put it on any one thing. The actress in it, it's like Indy. I'm gonna get her last name wrong. It starts with an N. It's like Navarana, something like that. Amazing. If she is not a star over the next decade, I will be shocked. Her range is amazing. She's amazing. She makes the movie just top notch. Really good. And so I'm excited to see everything from all of them. And I think Curry Barker already has, I think, shot his second movie, and it has his buddy, but it also has, oh my gosh, the guy from Breaking Bad, Jesse. Oh my God, what am I thinking?
Oh, Jesse Plemons.
No, not Jesse Plemons. I'm using his name in the show.
Oh,
Not Walter White, but the other guy.
I'm gonna tell you right now the part that this is gonna drive people insane. I've only ever watched the pilot of Breaking Bad. I've never seen
I hate you. No, just playing. That is shocking.
I know it drives. Breaking Bad is like one of the last I think like cultural touchstones. It was like that in Game of Thrones.
You could live tweet it. It was amazing.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. It's like it was one of those ones where, and I went and I watched like the first episode. I was like, oh, this is very good. And then I just never, I think it was like by that point, like season 3 was out and I wasn't in a bingeable mood to like catch up.
Aaron Paul. So I was going to say Aaron Paul.
Aaron Paul. Got it.
Yeah. So
I
think they've already shot it. I'm pumped for it, but I'm very excited to be like, oh, there's an exciting young creator.
The part of the news about this though was the fact that didn't one of the movies, Backrooms, didn't it like beat Star Wars?
There was a thing with Grogu. I'm not gonna fucking watch The Mandalorian and Grogu. I think, but here's the thing. I think it outperformed it on its like third week or something like that. I don't want to.
I saw again culture war stuff. There was a bunch of people who wanted to then attack the Disney Star Wars, Disney woke wars or whatever bullshit. But
if you give me something that I think is gonna be of like high quality standout, great. Everything that I heard about The Mandalorian and Grogu was like, it felt like it was a Disney Plus movie that they released in released.
So that's exactly what I talked to some people here at the conference, and I talked to a few guys who were like, I could see like they had like a Star Wars patch on their bag. I'm like, did you see the movie? And they're like, yeah, it was 4 shows stitched together. And actually, when they release it on Disney Plus, they have actually now people are saying it's going to be lost media as a movie because when they release it on Disney Plus, it's going to be released as a 4-part miniseries.
Wow.
So it's like it is. They tried it a couple different ways from what I saw, and that I found that very interesting. But actually, what's interesting about this in this moment is what you're talking about with these two, young directors coming from the net. Also, Markiplier, who recently had a very big movie.
Just watched Iron Lung. He just released it on YouTube. Yeah.
So Markiplier, and that made a bunch of money in the box office and did very, very well. I think it's interesting because that feels more like the 70s. When you had all these, the auteur directors and this whole group, which included George Lucas, of guys who understood. They grew up watching the Medium. They grew up watching, all these different types of shows like Akira Kurosawa movies and others, and bringing those in. The Backrooms is based off of, from what I know, is based off of a 4chan green text that is like they expanded on. Like the fact that we're at a time now that 4chan means so fucking much drives me insane because I was there. It's just like, that's the part that always feels odd. But like, this is where you pull stories from, how you do these communications, those things. What's Obsession about, by the way? I don't even know what that one's even about.
It's about, being careful what you wish for. Okay. That's what it is. Sometimes it's like essentially like a monkey paw sort of situation of like, what if you wished for something, and then what does that actually mean in the way that it happens? And it was watching the movie, I felt so torn because the first I forget the time, it was like 10 to 15, 20 minutes. It like reminded me of what it was to be young and like having that like that first feeling of like, I really care about, like I really want this person, I'm obsessed with this person, and then you the moment he takes this woman's control over her body away, you're like, oh, you're the bad guy. And then the rest of the show, or rest of the movie is like, oh, you keep doing stuff, and it's like we're not on, like, we see where it's coming from, but you have become a monster. So it's too very there is that moment where it switches, where you're just like, oh, he's getting this is not the same person. He's essentially raping her. But he doesn't think that it is because he's not really understand. I don't know. Like, I can't make excuses for a fictional monster man. When you look and you realize like that's not her, and he learns that that's not her, it becomes a whole other thing. So there's a first act that I was like, oh, to be young again, and like to not know where life is going and what relationships have in store, and then nightmare movie. That's fantastically acted. And then the last one that I want to mention is like, this is continuing a part of a trend. You mentioned Markiplier. I think that was it was reported that he spent $3 million. I think in an interview, he said it cost $5 million. It at the box office made 50. And now who knows how much he's going to make by releasing it on YouTube first, because you have to buy it. Okay. So I watched it here actually in the last week, day or two after it was released. And then, I couldn't believe that when it first happened, Raka Raka, they were YouTubers, that they were the ones that came out with Talk to Me, which is another scary movie that I really, really enjoyed. That was a good one. But I will say, out of all four, if we're ranking things, Obsession was my favorite.
Obsession was your favorite. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll have to check it out. I will try to find. The one thing issue I have too is I don't like horror. I don't like horror movies because I can open this window and I can see the White House right now. That's horrific enough for me. I might actually try to go walk past the reflecting pool to just see how fucked up it is.
The only thing that messes with me is body horror, but like really gnarly body horror.
Oh yeah, no, I can't. No.
But
so here's the thing: like, I need
it
if it. I can deal with like 80s movies now, especially when you take an 80s movie and you put it in HD, because you can usually see the zippers. Like then they're funny. Like I love Godzilla. I used to really love zombie movies until once the pandemic hit. I didn't love them anymore because I actually discovered what I thought was things that were unrealistic were actually very real. Like people hiding a bite. I didn't think like in my brain. I'm like, if I got bit for the good of the group, I would warn everyone. And it's like, no, people are truly selfish. People don't believe, these type of things. And some of those zombie writers were actually too accurate. So now it's not fun. But when it comes to horror, yeah, it for me, I need it to be silly. There's very few that like I can like jump on that. Like I need that like wackiness to them. Like A Nightmare on Elm Street now, I'm like, awesome. When I was like 5, terrifying. But now I'm like, this is very funny. Like that's how I watch them.
The only thing that I would warn, if you go, you need to understand the demographic of some of the audiences that are going to see this movie. This is anecdotal, but I've seen a number of people. When I went to Backrooms, there was an entire row of, I don't know if it's Gen Z or Gen Alpha, that were on Snapchat the entire time. Just phones out. Hey, they minimize the brightness a little bit, but like movie theater etiquette is
in the dirt.
Yeah, I think in the dirt. So it was something that I didn't fully appreciate because a lot of the time when I'm able to get a little time to myself, I end up seeing a number of matinees or like things on like weekdays, or like I'm a big fan of Thursday night showings. So sometimes that's it. But some of the younger folk, I'm not going to say everyone, because there are a lot of young people in Backrooms. That's actually one of the big things that Gen Z, I think, was just under 35 was like a huge chunk of the audience.
Yeah, well, but also because it was a 4chan thing, it's like a creepypasta. It's like this has been one of those things that it's like Slender Man. So I actually know guys who did. I know one of the guys who did Marble Hornets, which is what like really pushed like Slender Man back in the day. Like there's certain things like that are kind of more part of like the culture in that way from YouTube, especially. And so they're like, oh, we're getting like our YouTube, we're getting our, like, this is the type of thing that we talked about in our school, versus like they don't give a fuck. Like these He-Man's coming out, right? Like He-Man is actually targeted at us. It's supposed to be like men in their like 40s to 50s who may have had He-Man action figures. The people who buy He-Man action figures are all adults. Like no little kid cares about fucking He-Man. The movie is probably going to do all right, but there's like certain IPs they keep bringing back. And I think it's starting to get similar with Star Wars. Like Star Wars, I've seen people call Star Wars Unk Slop. They're like, this is for the unks now, like old dudes. And I'm like, oh, well, you see it too when you'll see them post like, Half-Life 2 and other video games like that. This is dad games. And I'm like, no. Oh yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah. I guess there really is no merging on that. Those graphics don't work for your generation anymore. And that's fine. Who actually boomed me with that? Apple Music. There was a dad rock channel.
Oh no.
And playlist. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll put it on. And I'm expecting to hear 70s arena rock. And 3 Doors Down came on. And I was like, wait, what? And then
You're
it was
this
followed by
isn't Zeppelin?
Pearl Jam. Yeah, I was like, where's Bowie? And it was and I started, it was Foo Fighters. Actually, you want to talk about feeling old. This was me the other night. The other night, I had to do a late night grocery store run to grab some stuff, and I was driving home, and I didn't have my phone plugged in, so I actually just had the radio on because it's only a 2-mile drive, and I had the radio on, and I hear a song I like, and I'm bobbing my head, bum 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 bum, roll out, and I'm like, oh fuck, Ludacris, and it goes, that's right, roll out to Lowe's for this appliance sale, and I almost crashed my car because what do you mean? We're at a time where fucking Ludacris can be in a Lowe's commercial for appliances is the oldest person thing you can buy at Lowe's. They're talking about dishwashers, Phil. When you hear Ludacris, we're talking about roll out. And then I was losing my fucking mind. I'm about to crash the car, and then it flips over. They cut, and the DJ is like, and now another classic song from 30 years ago. And Yellow Ledbetter by Pearl Jam came on. And I'm I immediately got arthritis and heartburn. I was like, I'm going to die. And the thing is, I don't mind getting older. I don't mind being 42. I don't care about these things. I don't need to be reminded sometimes. That's where I'm at. I'm very with seeing somebody who's younger, having a completely different perspective than me about all sorts of shit. I try to understand perspectives, but putting Ludacris in a rollout, that song used to scare moms, and now they're like, moms are gonna come get a new dishwasher, but you're gonna get a new Whirlpool Maytag, and I'm like, fuck you. That's too much.
Well, guys, thank you so much for listening to us crash out and apparently have a midlife crisis.
No, I like that. Can I tell you what I like about midlife crisis? It's assuming I'm going to make it to 84.
It's actually an optimistic saying.
Yeah.
I'm listening to this book that talks about life as 4,000 weeks, and I was like, well, 2,000's done. 2,000 of them have been spent, so let's start thinking not even of the next 2,000, but let's maximize the next 500.
Yeah,
I've
really stopped. My thing has been stop thinking about my lifespan and started to think about my son's. That's kind of the angle I've been trying to think about, that side, and that's healthy, and that's how you end up.
That's healthy now, and then it'll fuck you up because I'm like, my kid's gonna graduate in 6 years. I'm like, what the hell?
And then you got to go back to focusing on you.
Oh no, I already focus on me.
I know. I know. Yeah, that's why you're constantly trying to find out Mr. Beat's forearm workout.
Hell yeah.